Analogy time. Visual analogy. Just joking. What's going to happen it? Anyway, start the video off like that. It's got over, and it's actually crystallized itself into being useful forever as example for future moral codes to be built from. How about that? Sorry about the voice, people, but this was always something intended to piss someone off, and it did originally, I've got to say, begin with a bit of I thought, how dare these secret society pre-zone people who pay for this privilege to fuck around with people's minds and lives and heads get a buzz out of it, and they're so fucking, there's not words for it. They just think it's so cool. I thought, something needs to be done about this. And kind of like sussed them out years ago, really. Along with a few other people who I was telling that I was updating. Whether they believe me or not, doesn't really matter. But people were catching on to a thread that I was on, inevitably, and gaining more access into the information, or more clarity into what I was looking into. And it was a kind of specialist thing, but it wasn't. It was covering all areas as well, which is pretty strange. But you will see at the end that this is not like anything that anyone has done before. And I'm not trying to show off, but because it comes through people. This has come through people. I'm just here to deliver. And yep, if there wasn't a show down, and everyone was on about this, weren't they? As I say everywhere, I know people were talking about it. There was hints there. I didn't watch, like I said, I didn't get bogged down with the conspiracy or the spiritual online movement, really. Not that much at all. Because I knew that this was had more foundation, really. Had a lot more substance to it, anyway. So this was the path that I went down, was kind of like I call it my own research, but I had to start sharing it, which I did. And I did not know, well, I kind of knew that there's a solid path and a few twists and turns, but the ultimate twist, kind of, now either, let's call it the universe, is really good at twists and turns, or it's kind of, I'm not going to say, it's either saying to me, look, it's just there, it's crystallised now, all you have to do is just kind of package it up and breach the penny pusher, the overhang, that hangover highway, and the penny drops for lots of people. Now, the best thing about this is, what's really good about this one, is that people can't turn around to, say, me or Loveday in this instance, because they will have to concentrate on me and Loveday as the two people, and plus there's loads of these stories that are developing around the world. This is one of many to come, and I'm sure, I hope that there are lots of stories of these archetypes, characters, having basically enough kind of time, or say the universe chooses certain people to play this out in, certain people, and these people could not necessarily be involved. It's just how it would play out, be through people, and kind of choose this, obviously the best of the best. And so that's crazy. But yeah, if there was a competition between me and Loveday, which there isn't, but on my behalf, but he thinks there is, and that was always the problem, is that he thinks there's a competition, and through thinking that, he's really delayed and held up a lot of shit. And when it comes crashing down on what he kind of held up, not only does the fact that he did purposefully deceive and withhold information from people around him, and at first you think it's just tragic behaviour, you think it's just, just fucking, you always known him as being like a bit of a dick. Sorry, we have to use this language to describe this type of mentality, so bear with me. There's like loads of things to say this, that he has this mentality that doesn't, it's a really warped and twisted, far gone narcissism, but it's the most solid. I mean, to the extent where he became a covert, very covert, timeline assassin, basically. Now, funny enough, I've been documenting stuff, over the years. My initial introduction to Orgonite, Now, whether you believe in Orgonite or not, don't matter. I don't even want to debate about that, but these are the stepping stones, breadcrumbs that I kind of have used in my life to gather my perception up to this point, and it is crucial that people understand this, that it is not personal, it's not directed to you watching this film, unless maybe your love day, but just check the story between myself and this other person who says that I'm like the brother. I consider Loveday as the brother I never had. I never said this, right? But this is very important. These things get said because that is basically the trait of this particular dark personality type. That they choose quite early on in their life, I'll say, they will always have someone who's obviously they see as younger, weaker, less money, smaller than them, whatever, at the time when they first meet them, but could flourish and overcome them, right? And this is what's fucking really weird. He shows me, Loveday shows me, it's not paranoid delusion because of what I've documented in text to people. So we'll treat everyone else very different. This is what's sneaky about this, and it's almost like this intrinsic, integral personality trait of the elite type people, who it must just burn in the blood or something. If they see someone around them that potentially could be more successful than they think that they are at the time, they will put markers on them, and they're like sort of their attachments, basically, to handle them, to make sure that potentially would not be the case most of all, really. This is the person. If the person doesn't have to worry about money themselves, and has it all done from already, as in financially made, he could do a lot better with his mind, you know what I mean? But unfortunately chooses to do this because that's all he thinks, that's all he knows, the trickster. Then that's their life game, and they don't even know it. They don't even kind of know. They know they're being weird and sinister and creepy, but they don't realise how. But it's just like default to them, and what may seem to come across as brotherly love to other people. Oh, you love each other though, don't you? No, I fucking don't. Actually, I really don't. I mean, I like all the people. I do. Oh, I love everything. But in this instance, if there's anyone that the blame would be shifted to, I'm talking the world now, because if Loveday could not get his head around what I was doing in the first place, and the reason why I smashed his door was because he was just I was going to really go to town. I was going to kill him. I wanted to kill him because he knew he was what he was doing, because he knew it got to me that he wasn't. He would promote everything up to a point, but not go beyond this what I was talking about. It's not because he was scared of them. Not because he was like scared of them. No. Fucking loved A&E. Actually, what I thought would be really good to have on your side, to have in your arsenal against these fucking nerds. Scare them off like in no time, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? So, can't you see that it was like crucial, it was essential for me to get this across to him, because we could work as a unit to find stuff out. And of course he's got all the sort of weird mad back history links with you know who, the name wise. So it just made sense that and because of the letter, when I first got into the upper realms of Orgonite, right? Don Croft and Luhan and people like that. Well, the first letter I did to Luhan, I actually went into a detail about this person. His name, Simon Loveday. The other Simon, or J.S., John Simon Loveday. Because, you know, John runs in the family, apparently. I have to say this because it's all coming out. Either that or it's going to go, well, I'm going to put out everything anyway. It's out anyway. It's been documented, just needs to be condensed. And, I mean, the authorities can do what they want, really. I mean, I'm not going to press charges, but when you see this, over time, and the understanding that he had, and the definite commitment not to look at a person's information, not just in case they wanted to tarnish their perception of reality because it was so good, just because they knew it controlled them, it held them in a state of suspension. They're sadistic. It's psychologically sadistic and very covert, very dark and evil, and will go right to the end, to the person literally would die of whatever, and the other person would not give a shit, or more likely claim some of the fruits for themselves from that person, so that they're now dead. They would. For instance, like Orgonite would be like a big thing for it probably would, because that's what he talked about for fucking ages. And like so many instances that it's I got you charged with MC. Like, well, you introduced me to a friend of a friend of a friend who did a workshop. Came down for a workshop, and we did some workshop alchemy. And it was there. My mind was like a sponge that day. I was just on high definition record. What's he do? Like all the, you know, it was like I thought this is the best information I'll ever have to learn, and it was. I loved it. Was standing around there, going, you know, just swinging a can like that, looking like all pleased with himself like that, taking it in like that. Yeah. Fucking ask him, like, he doesn't make it. He doesn't know how to make it. Anyway. Apart from that, though, it's just another thing that kind of annoys me, innit? Well, it annoys me in a funny way. People take this in a funny way because this is against me and Loveday, and it is funny, but I do not want to be in the same vicinity as him from now until ever, really. He's basically lost the light of his life, I guess, because, you know, when it comes to, like, platonic brotherly love relationships where you can stand each other to more of an extent than you would with a person that you just quite easily just fuck right off and walk straight out. Them types, yeah. Anyway, so I hope I've not said too much, but it doesn't really matter if I have, because that letter alone indicates that's from 2014, and he knew, because I used to talk to these people about because of him, because I just couldn't get anything through to it. I thought the only person I could have a chat to about this is way before all the stuff came online, you know, on YouTube about personality types and stuff, personality disorders. Because I just thought, what the shit, right? But he would be firm and stop at this one area, knowing fully well that I was finding that shit out and finding other people out who were supporting the same thing, but it was being like very it wasn't the forefront of the YouTube, and it was quite critical, quite important information in a way, and it ended up getting YouTube shadow banned to mess around with because of this information. But there was a reason, and it was that there needed to be a crystallized timeline, because people have to realise that when I smashed those panes of glass on the door, I smashed 3 panes of glass, it took exactly 3 years. The weekend that I had to that attack that happened in the same place, 3 years later, do you know what? When I went down there and smashed the windows that evening, I smashed the 3 windows at the front, and I was crying and a load of blood everywhere. Oh, it was a proper mess, right? But I just wanted him to look. I just that was the pinnacle of my just to try to get this person, not attention seeking. Oh, just attention seeking. Whoa. But please, he knew what I wanted him to look at. It was so simple. But he didn't want to change his perception of reality. That's his words. So, in doing that then, it kept me in suspension just kept me there, And plus, it was kind of like that, but before I was living in the unit as well. I can go on to another story about that, about the room next door that he freaking just forgot about, even when I was living homeless. There's a room next door to this. And I said, oh, Pete, if the room becomes spare, just let me know, next door. Yeah, no worries. I'll go run for a shower each week. 1 shower a week. And then a couple of months down the line, Spenny was in there, Chris Spencer. And he mentioned about the I've eventually found someone for that room. And I looked at me and I looked at him and I went, what room? Like, there's been a room next door all the time. And looked at and I'm like, whatever excuse is bullshit, because look, they feed people different versions of people. So so Spenny had like a bit of an extreme version of me, I think, because Spenny knows me. To put on tours and stuff, so he wouldn't doubt this, but I'm sure that he was hammed up. Was hammed up. So because Spenny's excuse was, oh, I don't want to live with Cycle, you're too wild. Me, talking about me. I'm like, from Spenny. I'm like, come on, man, the fuck? That's too wild. Bullshit. I mean, it's like, what an excuse. That is just fucking petty. That too wild, crazy. Fucking what? I'm just fucking living in my own fucking unit. For one thing, trying to fucking barely surf the rim of life. Riding that rim, baby. How is it now? 17 minutes. Anyway, gonna get back to this site. There's gonna be a run up to it. 21 days to go. Well, from the first down to the shortest. And there we go. That's about it, really. Oh yeah, as it builds up, it will become more. I'll tell you on. There's going to be 2 platforms for this. There's going to be one really clear one. This platform. This platform is my YouTube raw footage, straight up, don't bother checking sort of thing. And the new platform is very succinct. It has lots of diagrams on it. They're hand drawn, but then photographed and digitised. Bit like those map things, that person did. A bit like that, but like Handa. Of just the crystallised situation between these 2 people. Not speaking from like a... Well, there's a definite... People would see this as, oh, do you think he is? But what they have to realise is that I had to start documenting this in like 2013. And then realising that I've been documenting it for years before that even. In writing, magic diaries, they call them. Well, I just call them lyric books, not notebooks, because I used to write like a lot of, like more poetry and prose, and I don't do that much these days, but writing wise like that. But there was a long period, kind of 20 years, over 20 years, where I wrote loads of different stuff in books, and it all has a thread to it, and there's a continuity, which if you were to ignore, it would just be, it has to be some reason. And it's not like just linking things up, because it involves so many other things and other people, and it goes beyond my lifetime and beyond, like in both ways. These synchronicities. in position and placement and alignment of physical things in matter, and of course the spirits, the flesh spirits that walk around it, or well, you know what I mean. Look, I'm not like claiming to be anything except for someone who wanted someone to look at something, and they knew that, and they played on that, and as in this is a psychological little. It's like, well, it's in their arsenal. This is what people in secret societies know. They know shit like this, and it drives another person mad because they don't know. They're like, why can't this person look at this? I was going like, why can't you look at it? And he knows, but he knows. And he's sneakily keeping it undercover because he knows. Not only because it annoys me that he can't get it across to him, because he would be talk about anything else, and even then, like he was, oh my second year later, well, how do you know side all this, right? I'm like, oh man, because you haven't looked at those emails, have you, you dick? What emails? The ones which I've trained have been having you to look at, but the years wrong. I don't know, but he doesn't realise what first went through. He put my fucking address on the A6, well, living here on the A6, yeah, sorry about swearing. Because I am played back some of the first videos I did, you know, when I first put this on. I was going crazy at them, seeing what they were doing and trying to push the boundaries that way. Seeing my response on TV likes sometimes. So I don't go on too long. I'll stop there. But yeah, I'll put a retro film on from back in the day, as in like over 3 years ago. Well, actually about 3.5 years ago, when I first. It was June the 1st when I went public on this, you know. I was talking about it for the odd video before on the run up, but it was building up to something. I was going to blow, and I said to everyone, I'm just go online, I'm just going to tell everyone. And I told love this, better back me up on this, man, because I'm going to go fucking you know, just blast it all over David Icke's Google community that these people are messing around with people and blah blah blah. See what they say. Oh man, it's like they was the first person to troll me and actually call me a freak and stuff and say I'm lying. He was actually the first person, but it even beat the free zoners to it. It even beat the Scientologists to troll me. So they did. Not surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if any of the. So let's just concentrate on Love at the moment, because this is going to be funny what's going to happen to him, because he's seriously got himself in the shit anyway.